most entertaining case studies I've come across the last few years is a community bank in the Pacific Northwest by the name of Umpqua Bank. It's based in Portland, Oregon. Not exactly a cutting-edge razzle-dazzle industry. A guy named Ray Davis takes over about 15 years ago, and Umpqua Bank is fine. It's 6 branches in and around downtown Portland, $140 million of deposits. Weirdly, it was a publicly traded company, even though it was tiny, market cap of $20 million. Don't know why it had gone public, but it had that kind of deal. And it could have added a branch a year, added a little bit of deposit every year, and everything would have been fine. Ray Davis arrives and gathers some colleagues and says, you know what? There are 10,000 community banks in the United States. There are now about 6,000. There are 10,000. Why do we want to do business like the 9,999? That is never going to let us be great. That is never going to let us be extraordinary. Let's give ourselves a challenge. Let's rethink and reimagine every aspect of how you can be a bank in this day and age. And by the way, fast forward to today, 400 branches from San Diego in the south to Seattle in the north, $14 billion in deposits, a market cap now that's hovering around $4 billion. It's one of the great growth and profitability stories in a part of the economy, community banking, that's absolutely been through the ringer in the last 20 years. And they did it by rethinking and reimagining what was possible. But not just that, they gave themselves a very specific challenge. Could we create a banking experience that appeals to all 5 human senses? That was the kind of strategic platform. The sense of sight, what, I mean, appropriate to this group in Boston Properties, what could a bank look like in this day and age? Next time you're on the West Coast, find the Umpqua Bank, whatever city you're in. I guarantee you they're not going to look like any banks you've seen in Boston or elsewhere. There's tremendously interesting designs of the buildings, tremendously kind of like coffee shop meets high-tech vibe to the interior of the design and the architecture and the furnishings. And each location looks a little bit different from every other one based on the city it's in and the neighborhood of the city it's in. We're having our homage to Seattle this afternoon for some reason. I was in Seattle about 6 months ago in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, which is the kind of bohemian counterculture part of Seattle, also now a very affluent part of Seattle. Those things tend to go together these days. It's where Kurt Cobain was born and Nirvana was created and grunge rock grew up. It's where Sir Mix-a-Lot came from. A lot of early hip hop came there. You walk into the bank and there's not like the oil portrait with the monocle of Arfando. It's a tribute to grunge rock, hip hop, and the countercultural roots of that neighborhood. Every month, this bank, like all 400 others, invites a local merchant from the neighborhood to open a pop-up store in the bank. So I was there, and it was the local kind of kids bookshop, and there was some guy dressed up as a dinosaur, and there were a bunch of kids reading, having a book reading and all that kind of stuff. And again, it didn't feel like any bank I've ever been in. It didn't look like any bank I've